As heard on Here's Help radio show, April 15th, 2018, 6 a.m., Y100 and 103.5 The Beat FM.
Good morning. I am Rafael Chavez, a student at FIU with a major in marketing. We will be discussing child support default and enforcement in Florida and America. Our speaker knows this topic well. She has been involved with personal child support enforcement for 24 years and is facilitating positive change. She will tell us that child support default is a nationwide problem and a huge social issue touching 36 million Americans and fostering poverty and racial inequalities. Last year, there was $116 billion of unpaid child support still due for all years with an enforcement program in place. Each year, $34 billion of support is enforced, more than half is collected, and that Florida enforces over 656,000 individual cases. Our speaker sees child support default as an unsecured credit risk placed on the custodial parent, the majority of whom are women. She believes it is in crisis and an escalating social issue in need of recognition and improvement. Welcome, Ms. Carla DeAndre, co-founder of DeAndre Insurance Group, a risk and finance professional, former custodial parent, and ongoing creditor of child support still due her.
Good morning. I was a custodial parent, and I'm still a creditor to the child support owed. To date, I have 24 years of knowledge and experience on this topic trying to enforce child support in New York, Florida, and interstate. Like many of our listeners, I am still due large sums, even with decades-long enforcement assistance through the states, UIFSA, and private counsel. As a risk and insurance professional, I am committed to finding better solutions for our custodial parents and their children. I believe that solutions exist. And yes, this is predominantly a woman's issue because the clear majority of custodial parents are women. I am encouraged that women's issues have been getting more attention recently. I am hopeful that government will listen and act to address this problem.
Why do you think this is a crisis and a social issue in need of exposure and fixing? The government believes it runs a cost-effective, successful program.
Let me state that we are grateful for the offices of child support enforcement at all levels and for the monies collected and placed in the hands of the custodial parent for the children. We are grateful for other services they provide as well. The issue I will speak to is the need for further improvements through an update to legislation or laws, and then a possible financial solution from the private-public sectors. In 2016, unpaid child support amounted to $116 billion. It is up over 2% from 2013. It is owed to custodial parents and taxpayers. Any way you slice it, this is a huge amount of money uncollected for the needs of our children. Annually, an estimated $34 billion of support, costing taxpayers $5.7 billion a year to enforce, is slated to be enforced. A crisis through measurement by debtor amounts, percentage of defaults, number of American children under 21, a crisis and an epidemic. Need I say more? Family financials, family structures, women heading single-parent families, children's well-being and welfare, poverty and race are all social issues and are partly due to unpaid child support. This is an important social issue for America.
Are there solutions?
Yes. Following DeAndre Insurance's research, we made a list which can be found on our website, deandreinsurance.com, and in the epilogue section of our research report titled Child Support Truth, also found on our website, deandreinsurance.com, in the Child Support tab. The broader social trends regarding family structure, poverty, and race are all beyond my expertise, but I do believe that there are possible insurance and financial solutions which would make the default on child support payments a more manageable problem. Financial solutions won't be done without changes to existing legislation and laws. From 1993 through today, the default rate has been at least 53%. Today, it's greater than 55%. Think about this. A custodial parent does not even have a 50-50 chance of collecting full support for the children with enforcement helping her.
Carla, I can't help but be curious about you. You are owed part of this $116 billion of child support arrears debt and are one of the 656,000 Florida enforcement cases. You are a victim of enforcement failure and vested in success from these changes.
Yes, I was a custodial parent. My sons are now men, but I am still owed large amounts that the state of New York, where I had lived, was only partially successful in enforcing. As I live in Florida now, Florida is enforcing unpaid New York child support judgments domesticated here. I have had to work with the Office of Child Support Enforcement in 2 states and interstate for 24 years, and it's not over. It is a trauma no parent deserves and no children need to witness nor be a part of. This is a man-made credit crisis with little recourse for our custodial families.
I am sorry to hear this for you and all others living through this. Yes, you were and remain a victim of failed enforcement. Let's hope that Florida can do better. Why should we listen to you with respect to solutions?
Professionally, I am a 42-year experienced insurance and risk finance professional, now operating a woman-owned business in Florida. I am positioned to use a combination of personal subject knowledge with professional expertise to find new and better solutions, which will help all custodial families. Child support is a long-term payment, unsecured, payable in installments, carrying credit default risk linked to the obligated party, the obligated parent. When you see the issue this way, it falls squarely into my professional area of expertise. I will not remain a victim nor accept the current dismal child support results for America. I am presenting new solutions which will mitigate the problem and help our custodial families. I have launched hashtag CS+100 to start the conversation, and will be posting on YouTube to improve the visibility of this cause.
That all sounds good. We now know this is a big problem financially and socially. Why do you think the government hasn't focused on it up to this point?
The government has enforcement operations with many committed individuals. I personally thank them for every penny collected and their efforts. The task, collecting unsecured debt from the obligated parent on the scale we are speaking of, is partially a resource issue, but broader. The focus must shift to how we measure, report, and analyze data and performance required by the law. There must be a change in a focus to include large individual debt cases in reporting, analysis, and performance measurements. States are not required to do this now, and no surprise, we have an upward trend of large debtor cases. DeAndre Insurance has initiated research into the top 100 debtor case levels in each state, and as a result has released findings never shared with the public before. They are available on our website, DeAndreInsurance.com. The size of individual debt levels will shock you. We know of 13 states with individual debtors owing more than $1 million per case, and there are higher individual debt levels owed.
Given that there is an established government enforcement operation in place, successful by current measurements, why do you believe it is not working well enough?
Aside from the abysmal numbers we just went through, state enforcement performance is measured in ways that are not fully comprehensive nor transparent. Based on how performance is measured, mostly in averages, the states may feel successful. I look at the numbers. Less than a 50% chance for full compliance with enforcement in place, billions owed, individual debts more than $1 million. This is not a success story in my book. We need new ideas and solutions to drive improvements. That's what DeAndre Insurance Group is bringing forward.
Child support enforcement collect and distribute funds. They capture and analyze data. States report that data and are evaluated on results in a prescribed way by and through Section 452A under Title 4D of the Social Security Act and the Child Support Enforcement and Incentive Act of 1998. What change would be needed?
Yes, the current data presentation measures and shows data in averages, which are small numbers, and not transparent as to the size of the debts due. Our states have individual debtor size data available, and it should be made public along with the averages. Our states need to reveal the highest debtor case amounts and list them highest to lowest, and they need to be evaluated on the reduction in the number of large debt cases and the reduction in the size of the individual debt in each individual large debt case. These measurements need to be a part of the reward and penalty performance the states now answer to. If this were so, the large serial debtor cases would be analyzed by the states and solutions forthcoming. Large debts hold a trove of information to be used to create solutions to preempt, mitigate, and close open cases at all levels of debt. Following DeAndre Insurance Group research into the largest debtors in each state, the Federal Office of Child Support Enforcement has commenced a new analysis on these debts and the distribution of debts. We have started something here which is a step in the right direction to help creditor custodial families increase the odds of collecting their money.
Please explain how this relates to Florida.
Yes, of course. Specific to Florida, Florida Department of Revenue Child Support has over 656,000 open cases. DeAndre Insurance research shows that the largest individual Florida debtor trended upward from 1.9 million and now stands at 2 million, over 2 million actually. Florida has 34,682 cases which owe $40,000 or more per case. This is after-tax money to the creditor custodial family, the majority of whom are women. I hope our elected officials and those seeking re-election or election don't miss this point. In 2016, Florida has collected and distributed $1.1 billion. Thank you, Florida. $1.78 billion was due. Unpaid for all years is $5.6 billion. As one can see, we have a long way to go to approach the 100% achievement goals. The data we could source going back to 1993 shows America never reaching 50% full compliance. Never.
These are large numbers. Is Florida alone here?
No, this is an issue with big numbers and wide reach in every state. Illinois' top debt level exceeds $5 million. New York's top debtor level exceeds $8 million. As examples, far from 100% full compliance goal.
Is it time to improve the report card and move closer to the 100% goals you presented?
Absolutely. We know that a custodial parent has less than a 50% chance of receiving full support. They should be told this from the start and explain that they are accepting unsecured credit risk, no collateral, no transferability, and no pre-credit underwriting to even have an estimate of their odds of default. One solution is to bring a credit underwriting process into the support evaluation process, which can trigger the involvement of the Office of Child Support Enforcement in the beginning, depending on results, and not wait for default when the children are doing without.
I see. And you mentioned this is widespread. Is that why you see it as a social issue?
Yes, not just because of reach or scale, but for additional reasons. Of the 116 billion due, I estimate 72 billion is due women in after-tax monies. Intentionally defaulting on child support is a form of financial abuse and bullying towards women and children, or any custodial parent. A law must be made to move this bad act from civil to criminal, like other forms of child abuse, triggered at a debt level to be determined. I believe intentional default of $40,000 or greater must be a criminal act and charged as such. We would need a law to change this. The custodial family finances take the full blow on default. Child support default reduces the custodial parent's household financial basis, in many cases increasing the number of those in poverty. Over 1/3 of these children are in poverty, and all other children are unjustifiably robbed of the fair and lawful financial basis.
Are you suggesting a collateral or financial solution providing liquidity in the event of default?
I would like to see us get there. America does provide financial backstops for farmers through the crop insurance program and home and business property owners through the FEMA flood program, low interest loans through the SBA at time of crisis, and Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac for the nation's housing finance system, and more recently, federal reinsurance for the peril of terrorism. So there are precedents.
Well, those are interesting examples of large issues tackled and addressed with solutions in our country. I want to touch on a final point. You mentioned earlier that no child of any race is spared. Does child support default fall upon racial lines?
Sadly, no child of any race is spared. But African American children, measured as children growing up in a single parent home while the other parent lives elsewhere, so they're living with the custodial parent, are affected disproportionately.
Thank you. Let's wrap up. What can a custodial parent and concerned families and individuals do?
If you are a custodial parent due support, please register your case with your local child support enforcement agency. If you are registered, update the case if you have not been in a while. Read the solutions presented by DeAndre Insurance on our website, deandreinsurance.com. Advocate for this cause. If you are owed child support, then we are owed child support because every child's well-being should be of our concern. This is from our research book, Child Support Truths. Stay involved. Make this a campaign and election issue for your vote. Let your elected representatives know that it is no longer acceptable for women and children and other custodial parents to self-insure the credit risk of child support default. We want change for the better, and our elected officials must lead this for our custodial families and children.
Thank you, Carla.
Oh, would you like to know where you could find the financial terms and the references we used?
Yes, of course.
All right, so go to our website, www.deandreinsurance.com. It provides a link in the child support tab to all the reports we referenced for the data herein, and it will soon have our research book, 60 pages of research on child support truths, never released data in America before, and you can join us at hashtag CS is for child support, CS plus, because we want more, CS plus 100, we want 100%, hashtag CS plus 100. Tell us what you think. We share a common goal of returning child support funds to the custodial parent for the children and to halt and reverse this nationwide epidemic of default. Enabling that change and commitment must come through and from our elected officials and laws implemented through child support enforcement at the state and federal levels. We are in this together and need our elected officials to lead positive change. We thank you for listening. Good day.